Hey everybody, I'm Maddie and welcome back to Diaries of a Farmhouse. So yes, I do have candles going today. No, I will not let them burn the leaves on my plants like I did before. I was in here working and I had these candles going and I posted a picture to Instagram because I accidentally let this candle get too close to the leaf on my neon pothos and it burnt it. So yeah, that was not fun, but anyway. Hopefully my phone will have enough battery on it to finish this video and get everything uploaded. I swear I try to be consistent and I try to get them uploaded on the right days, the days that I said that I will, but for some reason technology just doesn't want to cooperate half the time. So hopefully everything will go smooth with this one and I'll be able to get it uploaded Tuesday or Wednesday. And that way you guys can enjoy it and I can try to stick to my schedule. I also have started a blog on my website, and for each video I've been trying to get blogs uploaded, typed up to match the videos I'm posting here. So if you don't want to watch the video, you could go read it. If you don't want to read it, you can come watch the video. So that's the plan. So today, after my nonsense rambling, we are going to talk about 10 common houseplants that are fairly easy to take care of for beginners. And these are all houseplants I have in my costume is just like hit the top of the water really hard. These are all houseplants that I have in my own collection, some of which I haven't vibed with, but I know that that's just me. I tend to do well with plants that need a lot more attention, and I tend to not vibe well with plants that don't need a lot of attention because I give them too much. So, but for the most part, these are all plants that most of you guys will be able to enjoy, no problem. So, the first plant that I am going to talk about is the trendy Monstera. So, I have one right here. I'm not going to go get the big one out of the other room because she's a little too big to drag in here. But as you can tell, these are cute little tropical plants. They get these fenestrations and they tend to get pretty big. If you watched my Monstera video, my Beauty and Botany Monstera video, you'll know that they can get pretty big, but they are very trendy. They're very easy. I let them get bright and direct sunlight. Sometimes, like this one, is just getting the light from my grow light and a little bit of sun from this window. But not a whole lot, so they're pretty versatile. The one in my laundry room gets bright and direct sunlight, and they, as far as watering, they are aroids and they have thicker roots, so you can let them dry out almost all the way in between, and they like being watered that way, and then being saturated with water once they're almost dry. And they'll also, you can see like this little guy down here on the bottom, its leaves starting to curl a little bit. They sometimes do that when they need water. So they're pretty easy to read, easy to take care of, and they're super beautiful and trendy. Okay, so the next plant on my list is the Pothos, and that is because, again, they're super easy to take care of. They like to dry out in between waterings, and they come in a variety of colors and styles, so, well, not styles, but types, I guess. They're easy to propagate. Like I said, they're easy to take care of. This is a neon pothos. They are brighter in foliage than the other marble type pothos, or even like the all green pothos. I think they're jade pothos. But the cool thing is that you get this variety. You get this neon bright colored plant that in the more sunlight even gets a little bit brighter. They can still have the marble kind of variegation. I don't know if you could see this leaf. You just won't see as much of it. And then you also have the, like, this, they have, like, golden pothos. They have, let's see, I'm trying to think of the other one. It is a white marble queen pothos, I think it's called. I can't remember all of a sudden. Anyway, that one gets a lot more white on its leaves. This one has some of the marble, I don't believe it's not a golden. The goldens have like a little more yellow in their leaves, but this one does have that variegation, and I believe some of these cuttings are the marble queen. You can see they're white and they have a lot of the variegation. Some of this in here is just green, but the nice thing about these is, one, like I said, they can dry out in between waterings. So if you're somebody that doesn't want to have to take a lot of care of your plant, you can do that. They're not super needy. They can be put in indirect sunlight or low light areas. If you put them in too bright of light, though, it will scorch the leaves. So it's perfect, though, for homes that have kind of dark spaces, like I have it in this corner, or homes that have like hallways that you want to put a plant in, or even office spaces. Okay. So the next plant that I have in my collection that I think is a good beginner plant, a common plant that you can find in a lot of places, and something that's kind of trendy, and that is the Syngonium or Arrowhead plant. And as you can see, I have a lot of them in my collection. I think I have a couple more cuttings from this one. Obviously it needs to be staked up and pruned, but I love these plants for beginners because, once again, they are part of the Arrowhead family, which means that they, I feel like this guy is in my face, which means that they can dry out almost all the way in between waterings, though do be cautious about letting them dry out too much, because this was a lot bigger and I did not water it. I forgot to water it, and it lost a lot of leaves. As you can see, there's a bunch of dead ones on the bottom here, so I'm just going to pluck those off. But they do recover well. So obviously this one's coming out of it, but they are a good one because, once again, you can kind of just let them do their thing, and when they need water, water them, and then forget about them again. They do need water once they are almost dry. They will droop. They'll get kind of sad when they need water. The nice thing about these is, once again, like the Pothos, they come in a ton of varieties, and you can find these varieties pretty much anywhere, unless you're finding something kind of rare. So I have this babe, got it at Home Depot, has beautiful light veins, the dark green around the edges, easy, fast growing plants. I have this one that has the pink veins and the lighter green edges. This one I did buy from Marketplace, but I know a lot of people do sell them on there. It has a compound leaf, and it has kind of a mixture of dark and light on the leaves, but you can tell the leaf type is a little bit different, but still definitely one of my favorites in my collection. And then I also have this little gal that has pink leaves, and then I can't remember the names of all of them. I know there's, yeah, I can't remember. There's too many, but and then I have this bigger guy here, and as you can see, they grow very large, very full. You can put them on moss pools and it kind of make a statement. You can let them, or get smaller ones just to place around your home to add a little bit of color. Definitely number 3 on my list, and I think it definitely deserves that spot. So I forgot to mention, one thing about Syngoniums is that you can put them in a variety of places. So they'll do best in bright and direct, but you can put them in indirect and they will do okay in lower light. They probably won't be as happy, but you could put them somewhere where they don't get as much sunlight. So let's move on to number 4 on our list. So the next plant that I want to talk about is the Pilea, or the Chinese money plant. This one is still kind of small. I split it off from a larger plant, but they are easy to take care of. They like a little more water than the Syngoniums, but they will tell you when they need water. These nice coin-shaped leaves will start to become really soft if they need water. You can kind of watch that. You can look for the soil, and when it's about dry, about an inch down, they'll need water. Bright indirect to indirect sunlight. I have mine in my west-facing window, and it does really good. They get these little, I think they're called peperomioids, but they grow from the bottom, and eventually they will make this plant really full, beautiful. They get really tall. You can propagate those when they start getting their own root systems. You can separate them off into other pots, and this plant is also relatively pet safe. So it might cause like minor digestive upset, but for the most part, you shouldn't have to worry about anything. Of course, like, I'm not a professional. That's just off the ASPCA website. So if you want to do more research, feel free to do so. The rest of the plants I've talked about so far are toxic. to pets and animals, children. So just something to keep in mind. But I love this plant. It's kind of unique. It's pretty to look at. It grows in a really cool way. And overall, I think it definitely deserves its spot on my list. So moving on, I have brought about some of my like string ofs. These are succulents that you can pretty much get anywhere these days. The one out of these that is probably the hardest to find at like your common box stores is probably string of pearls, I would say, and maybe string of dolphins. String of bananas you can find pretty much anywhere. Sorry. But as they gain popularity, I've been seeing them in a lot more places. These are indeed succulents, so they're pretty easy to take care of, dry out in between waterings. They will all lose a little bit of the plumpness in their leaves, so you can see the string of bananas. It's been through a little bit. We haven't quite vibed, but it's coming about. So I've just coiled everything in there because it'll make it fuller on top, and then as it crawls out or climbs out, it'll still be as full. But you can see these are nice and juicy. That means it doesn't need water at the moment. It's something that you can kind of just hang up, leave, every once in a while come by, see if it needs water. And they will grow really long, beautiful, like vines over the edge. Couldn't think of the word there for a second. Then I have the string of pearls. So this one, I did have it in too much sunlight. These are all, you could put them in bright sunlight, but they'll fade, and this one was starting to just not look good. And I know it wasn't a watering issue, so I moved it somewhere where it was still getting sunlight all day, but not direct sunlight. And that's probably ideal. So this one, I have the string of dolphins, and it has been in my west-facing window, but somewhere where it doesn't get bright light. It gets just kind of like indirect sunlight all day, and that's where this is going to go. So I would say let them dry out in between waterings, which makes it easy. Put them somewhere where they will be getting 6+ hours of sunlight, but not direct sunlight. Okay, the next plant on our list is a plant for my people who like to overwater things. So far, we've talked about plants that like to dry out in between waterings for the most part. Pilea's side, they like to dry out like an inch down in the soil, but they've all been plants that you can kind of just like let them do their thing, check them every so often. We're going to get into something for my people who overwater, like me. And that is the peace lily. Now, excuse the look of this, babe, because I inherited her a few years ago. She kind of started my collection. She came to me from somewhere that she was not getting the care she needed. She looked really good for a while, and then we declined, and now she's looking pretty good again, but there are some leaves that are looking a little rough. So, but nonetheless, I got this big babe right here. And so peace lilies are gorgeous. They will get huge, broad, tropical looking leaves. They will bloom, so you can see there that this one's got a white bloom coming up. They can get really full, huge. This peace lily has relatively small leaves, and that is probably just because she struggled for a little bit. But the bigger she'll get, the bigger the leaves will start to get. You can find these at Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart. I saw some the other day at Lowe's that had some really large, gorgeous leaves on them, very healthy looking. So they're a very cool plant. They like low lights, which makes them perfect for office spaces or houses that don't have a lot of light. They like to be watered pretty much not all the time. I shouldn't say they don't like soggy soil, but they don't like to dry out either. They like to have damp soil pretty much all the time. A lot of people like to let theirs droop before they water them again. This one, I kind of just, if I walk by it and it looks like it's kind of dry on top, I'll give it a little bit of water. If I have, if I'm cleaning my fish tank or whatever and I need a place to dump some of the water, I'll put it in there. And so far, that has worked for me. She's growing a lot of new foliage in the middle. Some of these old leaves, so eventually I'll have to cut off, but overall, a pretty easy plant to take care of, good for my overwaterers, great for spaces that don't have a lot of light, and just overall gorgeous to look at. On my list of common houseplants that are pretty good for beginners would be the Dieffenbacca. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but a lot of people call it dumb cane, and I know you can get it at pretty much any box store. They come in a variety of different variegations and colors, and they are a plant that likes to dry out about an inch or so deep into the soil. They like bright indirect light, and they are just really beautiful. They add a lot of different color to the space. I have this one behind me, and if you watched my choosing and saving houseplants from like Lowe's and box stores, you'll see that I got this one for like $10 at Lowe's. It had a little bit of crispiness, so you can see there's still some crispy leaves there, but it is getting a lot of new growth. There's one there, and a couple back there. You can see on these leaves they have this really cool variegation pattern, and they will get very large. You can put them anywhere in your house as long as they're not getting direct sunlight. Like I said, they like to dry out about an inch down in the soil, and overall an easy, really cool looking plant to spruce up your home. If you come across one at a box store in the discount aisle and you're thinking about getting it, watch my video about how I saved this one, how I chose this one. But a lot of times you will see them in like the discount section at like Lowe's. Home Depot I don't think has one, but they're pretty easy to save, as you can tell. Put this one in fresh soil, pruned it up a little bit, and it's got 4 new growth points on it. So really easy, really beautiful, really cool plant. As we're nearing the end of our list, the ZZ plant is number 8. Very cool plant, very kind of different leaf structure and stem structure. These are a low light plant or indirect light. They are perfect for office spaces, like I've talked about for the other plants in this video. Darker spaces in your house, south-facing windows. They will get a little bit sunburnt if they get too much sun. This ZZ plant was actually given to me from somebody else, and I've been trying to kind of help it to recover from the transplant. Pretty resilient though, you can tell. Things are looking better. This was a cutting that I took off of it a while ago and put it in there. The nice thing about ZZ plants is, one, they're low light, so they'll go in a variety of places in your home. They're cool to look at, but also they do come in a few different varieties. They do come in a variegated variety, harder to find, but the typical ZZ and the Raven ZZ plants, Ravens are ZZ plants that have black leaves. They're pretty easy to find. They are a low water plant, so they like to dry out in between waterings. In fact, a lot of people say you can just like ignore them for a long time before you give them water again. I usually just wait until the soil is completely dry and then water it again. But I do like these plants. They look really cool when they have become really full. The only thing with these is because is that they're a slow growing plant. So you'll have to wait a while before they become fuller, but totally worth the wait. And I really like these. The next plant that we're going to talk about, which is actually number 9 on our list, are these snake plants, or mother-in-law's tongue. They come in a bunch of different colors and varieties, and I only have a few here, and I can't remember their names, but these were cuttings from my aunt's snake plant that I have in pawn. They've actually been doing very, very well. There's a few, I call them pups, coming up from the bottom. But they come in different colors, so you can see like this one is dark and light green. There's some with yellow. I have this little one that was my grandma gave me that has the green and light. So they also come in like a light green, minty green color. I think those are called the moonshine sansevierias. There's some that are all green. There's so many varieties, and they do enjoy being put in a indirect or low light spot, so they're perfect for any place in your home. In fact, I actually have this one in this west facing window, and it doesn't get direct sunlight ever, but it does get that kind of indirect sunlight, and it does really well there. The other thing that makes these really easy to take care of is they like to dry out in between waterings. So they're another one that you can kind of forget about for a while, and then every so often come and check the soil, see if it needs water, water it. A lot like a ZZ plant. The other thing that I have done with these is I've put them in pond. So this one is in soil, this one is in pond, and like I said, you can see that it is getting a lot of new growth. But I do let the pond dry out and evaporate all the way before I put more water in it. Same with this one. It is in a self-watering pot. These snake plants were kind of struggling. They didn't have roots on them anymore, so I put them in here. They're starting to develop roots. I let this run out of water completely before I add more water, and you can see that this one is getting a lot of new growth here in the center. So if that's the route you want to go with, it does make it a lot easier to take care of them because you don't have to water them. You can see if they need water or not. These are a plant that I have struggled with just because I tend to overwater them and they rot. So the pond has been pretty nice for me because I can actually visually see if it needs water or not, and then if it does, I give it water. If it doesn't, I let it go. So, but these are very visually appealing plants, very nice for office buildings, offices, dark spots in your home, and they are number 9 on my list. So let's get on to the last one. So the last one on my list are, the last ones on our list are the Dracaenas and corn plants, or dragon trees, and that is because, not that this is not because they're on the last on the list, but they're not exactly my favorite to look at. I know a lot of people like them, but I'm adding them onto this list because they are easy to take care of. A lot of people find them really trendy. They come in a variety of different colors, different types, and so that is why they're on this list. And I have just a few because, like I said, I've kind of struggled with these ones for the same reason as snake plants. I tend to overwater them and they rot pretty easily. But I finally figured out what works for me, and they are pretty easy to take care of. My aunt has had one for probably 40 years. Our neighbors had one for probably 40 years, and theirs look really good, and they've been able to easily take care of them for all that time. So I don't know if you can see in the camera the one behind me. This one's probably about 40 years old. I inherited it from a friend of ours, and it has done pretty well. It went through a rough patch, and I had to separate it into 2 different pots so that it could drain better. This one came from my mom. Her cat was eating it, which actually they're toxic, so I don't know how I didn't get sick, but so she gave me this one, and then my aunt gave me this corn plant a long time ago. It was the top to this one, but this is going to help me tell you why I think they're a pretty cool plant, an easy plant, and a plant that a lot of you, I think, would enjoy. So, one, they are a lot like snake plants, ZZ plants, all of those plants that like to completely dry out in between waterings. So, a lot of times, I will water these every 2 weeks, and if they are still damp, I will probably wait another week or another half week. And they like indirect to low light. This one is just getting the light from this window and the grow light. This one gets consistent south-facing sun. Most of the time our blinds are closed in there, so I'm not too worried about leaf scorch because they will get that. These ones, this one is actually in our laundry room in indirect sunlight, and this one is in direct sunlight. Here's the cool thing about these two. A lot of people do find them kind of trendy. They come in different colors. The Dracina Marginatas have like red on the edges of their leaves, and they have these long skinny leaves. They grow really tall and kind of in a lot of people braid them. They grow in a lot of different ways. You can propagate them. So this corn plant was kind of an experiment to see if I could propagate it, and I did. I cut the top off here, which caused a lot more growth along this stem. I was just noticing there's another growth point there. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 growth points on this. So it's going to grow really full and look really nice once those grow out. And then I'll also have this one, which I just noticed is getting another point of growth there. And this one is in pond. Same thing with snake plants. They will grow in pond. You just have to let the pond evaporate all the water out first. So, easy plant, cool plant, kind of unique, and you'll be able to have for a really, really long time. And like I said, they come in a variety of colors. So I forgot to mention they also come in green and yellow, but they also have like a green and white version that I've seen a lot of times at like Safeways and King Soopers. So those are my top 10 common houseplants that are easy to take care of. There's a lot more that I could have added to the list, but I think these are like my top 10 for people that ask me what they should get and they haven't had a plant before. They're plants that I've struggled with, but that is just because it's me and I overdote on things. A lot of times people struggle because they don't water things enough, they forget about their plant, or they overwater too, and that is why I've included the Peace Lily in this one and the Pilea, because they like a little more water. As for the rest of them, easy to take care of. Let them dry out, give them water every so often, some more than others, some dry out more than others, but overall, those are my top 10. I just want to say thank you for stopping in and checking out this video, and for those of you who have subscribed to my channel, it means a lot to me. Those of you who have liked and commented, it means a lot to me, and I see everything that you guys put on there. I just want to say thank you to anybody who just stops by and checks out my videos. I very much appreciate you as well. I thank you for hanging out with me today. I just want to say that I do have my own business called Diaries of a Farmhouse, which is why this channel is named that. And if you want to go check out what I have, you can go to www.diariesofafarmhouse.com, where you can find pet bandanas, you can find plants, you can find pots, you can find custom pots, you can find earrings such as the ones that I'm wearing today. You can find a lot of different things, and I would love it if you checked it out. If you want to, you can sign up for our newsletter, and that way you don't miss out on when we add new products, or if we're going to a local farmers market or community market over the summer. Thank you again for stopping by my channel, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!